Boom. I want to share one of my all-time favorite stories. You think about where you arrive in your life and how many touch points that go into it, how many people affect you positively, negatively, everything in between, and how that can change the trajectory of your life. This is one I get emotional thinking about it before I even get into the story. But when I was in fifth grade, I went to a school that was in a pretty affluent area. We lived just outside that, but I wanted for nothing as a kid. I didn't grow up in the mean streets of Northern California. But the kids that went to that school were definitely taking trips to Europe and Hawaii and doing all that. And it wasn't, really kind of our life and the way our kind of daily life was designed. But my mom actually thought I needed a little extracurricular activity. Sports was always my most powerful kind of grounding, but she wanted me to get involved in something else. So she asked me to participate in Boy Scouts. And I can't remember if I'd made it to Boy Scouts or I was still in Cub Scouts. It was the first time I'd done Scouts. And if, Thursday or Friday was the day we had to do Scouts, I was supposed to wear my uniform to school. So I had to wear this uniform. I was the only kid in the school that was doing Scouts. And every time I'd put this uniform on, this group of kind of boys in my class would pick on me, would make fun of me. It was an easy thing to pick away. Kids do that, and it was a very easy one to attack, and it really bothered me. And they stuck with it long enough that after, I don't know, 3 or 4 sessions of that, I finally had enough. I'd actually just started boxing for the police athletic league. Somebody that my mom knew was teaching my brother and I to box, so we had a little bit of a sense of how to move our hands. And one of the 5 that gave me a hard time decided to get in my face and give me a hard time, and I just sent a straight right cross into his nose. He went down, blood everywhere, way bigger effect than I thought, and we ended up in the principal's office. My dad came in. My principal was a guy by the name Principal Barry, and I remember he brought me in. He was pretty rough on, hey, you can't punch kids and this and that, left me. And then he brought all the other parents. By the time my dad got there, 3 kids' parents were there. The parents of the kid whose nose I'd pop was there, threatening to sue, sue the school, go crazy, all that good stuff. And my dad said, well, let me go and talk to the principal. I'm sitting in the hall. He went and talked to the principal. He came out, and then we drove home. And I remember my dad, being quiet for a while. I couldn't tell if I was in that much trouble. And he asked me to explain what happened. I explained what happened. He said, that's what the principal said. He said, actually, Principal Barry thought you did the right thing. And I said, what? He's like, he just thought you did the right thing. And frankly, the kid deserved a punch in the nose. He can't say that. So it's going to be fine. You'll be back in school. Life's good. Just try and stay away from those kids. I said, great. So the next Thursday or Friday came around, I didn't wear my uniform to school. Principal Barry saw this. He said, hey, are you not doing Scouts? I said, I am, but I'm just going to put my uniform on, when I get to the actual day of Boy Scouts or the after school session. He said, when's the next time you're supposed to be doing that? And I said, next Thursday, whatever it was. He says, please wear your uniform that day. I said, I really don't want to wear it. He's like, I'm begging you, please wear that uniform. I said, great. We start every day, if you remember this, if you're from my vintage, with assembly. So we'd stand out in lines in our class, and then we'd actually say the Pledge of Allegiance. And then I think on Friday, we'd actually do the flag would go up and the flag would come down. It was very cool. And I remember we're all standing in assembly. I wear my uniform begrudgingly. I'm standing in line, and Mr. Barry's late. Like everybody's like, what's going on? Where's the principal? And I'll never forget, he usually came out of the front office, but his office was in the back, kind of around the corner. And all of a sudden, Principal Barry comes around the corner in his Marine Corps dress blues. So the baddest uniform you have in the United States military. Black top, blue pants, sword, hat, medals from his time in Vietnam. Guy looked like General Patton walking around this corner. He comes walking out, gives a little talk about service to the whole, school, lets them know how important that is, what our country stands for. And he's like, hey, we're going to raise the flag today. I, of course, want somebody to help me raise it. Anybody want to help me raise the flag? I mean, every hand shoots up. He's like, well, let me make a choice. Comes walk around. He's like, I think it's appropriate if I'm going to raise the flag in uniform that someone else in uniform raises it with me. Rourke, would you please come raise the flag? And so I get to stand out there with Principal Barry, run that flag up. He's at full salute. We carry on. He dismisses the group. Talk about one of those waypoint moments when somebody could do something very simple, very special for you. And what seeds that plant in me at that point that led to being uniform down the road. If you can do something like that, if you can do something special and put a touch point, say the right thing to somebody when they need it, you can change the trajectory of someone's life. Ever onward.